What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to break down one of the most key factors when doing pull-ups and why you might be struggling with them. In the past, I've done videos about how to break down the pull-up in its entirety using all the muscle groups, but today we're going to focus on one specific muscle group and area, and that is going to be grip strength. I've brought some tools with me to show you some examples and exercises you can do to improve your grip strength. And there's going to be one key thing that I suggest you change or incorporate into your workout routine that's going to drastically improve your tendon strength and your grip strength, because they kind of go hand in hand. Let's get into it. All right, so we all know the traditional way of improving your grip strength and stamina is just hanging on the bar, doing a dead hang. But I have some exercises and workout equipment here and some wood to provide an example of how you can change up your routine a little bit to drastically improve your grip strength. So let's start off with the basics. We already know dead hang. You should know if you pick up something heavy, like a couple of dumbbells, and you hold them by your sides, it's pretty much doing what a dead hang does. But there's a limiting factor there. You're using a bar. And one of the key things when using a bar is you're using more of the belly of your forearm than down towards your hand and where your tendons actually are. Whenever I teach people how to do pull-ups, I always teach them fingers back, because if you can't hold onto the bar properly, that's going to be your weakest part of the chain, and then it's going to make doing pull-ups actually a lot much harder. So I have a really strong grip strength, which helps support all of the movement when I'm doing a pull-up, which is why they're much easier for me. So that key thing I was bringing up with what you should change or incorporate into your routine is going to be switching from a bar to a ledge. Now, I have a piece of wood to represent both of these. One is going to be a round shape representing like a dumbbell or a pull-up bar, and the other one's going to be representing more of like a door frame or a ledge, or something like, if you go to the back of a squat rack, you'll see that there's a flat edge on it. What I suggest you do is start doing 30-40% of your workouts, if they're doing pull exercises or grip strength exercises, on a ledge. The reason for that is when you're gripping onto a bar, your hand is wrapping around and you're actually resting on more of your third knuckle than you are anything else. And your fingers from the second knuckle all the way to your fingertip are not being used like they should be, which is a limiting factor in your tendon strength. And your tendons connect all the way out through your forearms, and your muscles in your forearm are the actual things that pull on those tendons to make them engage. Now, when you use a ledge is going to allow you to strengthen all the way from your fingertips to that second knuckle. And it's basically strengthening everything the bar doesn't strengthen. And you may not feel it as a muscle group, right? Because your tendons are going to attach to your forearm flexors, and it's all going to move at the same time, but there's this thing called tendon tensile strength. And what you're doing is you're increasing the strength of your tendons in your fingers from your fingertip down, rather than just your third knuckle down, so like more of your palm and hand strength. We want to strengthen the entire thing, and that could be the limiting factor, because what happens is when you get fatigued in pull-ups, you'll start to open up your grip and it'll start to go towards your fingertips more than anything. And if you can't hold on with your fingertips long enough, then you're not going to be able to do the rep, because if that fails, everything else fails. So this is probably the number one most important thing, especially when it comes to females in my experience. If you have a weaker grip, you're going to have a much harder time to pull your body upright and have that confidence to really pull yourself up while you're doing pull-ups. Another thing you can use, this is called a campus rung, or I think the brand is Metolius Rock Rung. And what this is basically a pocket system, but I like using the friendly 4-finger pocket. You can use 2-finger pocket, but that's kind of unnecessary for what we're trying to focus on here. But what it does is it just acts the same as a plank of wood or the back of a squat rack, and it allows you to focus on your fingertips rather than that third knuckle and back. And it's really good because you can just carry them with you. You can put it up on a regular bar, because as you can see here, if I didn't have any ledge training equipment, I only have the bar. So this allows me to hang it on the bar and do ledge training with free hanging rock rungs. It comes with 2. I only brought 1 because I'm just going to use it as an example. But this is another thing you can incorporate into your toolbox just to help strengthen those fingers as well. And again, I'm not saying you have to totally switch to from bar to a ledge all the time. 30 to 40%, just because we want to hyper focus on that area to help improve your strength in your fingertips. Now that we know the differences between a bar and a ledge and why it's important to switch, I'll just show you some examples of some of the things you can do with just very minimal equipment, right? There is a way on a bar to train fingertip strength, and that is resting your fingertip pads on the bar. I don't recommend you do this. Only use it as a last resort, because you're not actually able to get your whole fingertip on there, and it's putting a tremendous amount of stress on your second knuckle. And that, if you're not used to it, if you haven't been rock climbing, you haven't been training it, it can cause injury because you can actually rupture the tendon in your fingers. So be careful if you're doing anything super strenuous, and try to stay within your means even when doing regular ledge training. So there is a way to do it if you feel like you have to get ledge training in, but I highly would recommend you don't use a bar for ledge training. But there's other things you can do. We'll get into those. So you notice when I picked up these dumbbells, I held them at my sides like this, right? Easy exercise you can do with the same dumbbell or same equipment is just, instead of grabbing the bar, grab the ledge portion and make sure it's nice and heavy, and you just rest your fingertips on the ledge, and you can do a farmer's hold, farmer's walk, farmer's carry, and you just hold the dumbbells. You get the idea. Like, these are just examples of what you can be doing to improve your grip strength. You can even go from an isometric contraction, which is where your muscles aren't moving, right? They're in a contracted state, but they're not lengthening or shortening. So that means I'm just holding it still like this, right? This is an isometric contraction. My fingers are not moving. What you can do is, just like you would a finger curl on a bar, you can open up your fingers, close, and that puts a little more stress on the needed areas in your fingertips. And you're really trying to focus on bringing the weights up with your fingertips and nothing else. And you'll feel it in kind of like your extensors as well. So the next exercise we can do is a plate hold, because when you're holding a plate, yes, you're in a pinched state, but you're actually holding on with your fingertips and your thumb. So there's still a good amount of pressure on your fingertips, and especially if you get a heavier plate or hold them for long enough, you'll feel it in your fingertips, and you'll actually hold, and you'll feel it at the top of your forearm, the bottom, and you're really working out the fingertips all the way down your hand. Again, this is an isometric contraction while I'm holding it here, but you can do dynamic stuff like holding with two hands, lifting a heavier plate, do some curls, and we're getting a little bicep brachioradialis action in there while also strengthening your fingertips, which is totally fine. The focus here is not on your biceps or brachioradialis, it is on your fingertips all the way back to that second knuckle. So those are just a couple of exercises that I highly recommend you do. Again, 30 to 40% of switching to a ledge training rather than heavy bar training, it's gonna work tremendously on your fingertips and back to that second knuckle. It's important that you do so. You're not gonna get hypertrophy in your fingertips, like you're not gonna get super muscly hands, but it will work out the tensile strength on your fingertip all the way back to that second knuckle, which is a very limiting factor. So just to recap, go to your local squat rack or find a door frame that you can hold on to, and you don't have to do anything besides hang on it if you don't want to. But from a bar, which is hands wrapped around, to a ledge, remember, second knuckle all the way back, so you're flexing your fingertips into it, and that'll drastically help your grip strength. Hopefully this helps.